Hello, it's me again. Just want to talk about a little bit about the very beginning of the piano concerto. So the intonation has gotten much better, but we did have some troubles with it in the beginning, and I think a lot of it has to do with the key. We have to take very big stretches in the low positions, and our hands are not naturally used to doing that. So I was wondering if there'd be a way we could kind of practice that. One thing I would do is I would make chords when I practice. I would make double stops and chords and clean those up. So for example, in the very beginning, so here we have a situation where we need a whole note over here, and then here we have a half note, and here we have a half note, and that's a really hard stretch. So it's basically a C minor chord. And there we go. So what I would do it, I would it's easier to hear if it's out of tune. It also forces us, because we're playing it as a chord, it also forces us to correct position on our pinky, because if we are too low, the angle of our arm is too low, the way we approach the G string here with our fourth finger is that it impedes the D string, and then we can't play the chord, and so we have to come up a little bit like from high up, and then to do that sometimes, because at least I wish I had, some people have pinkies that are really long. I wish I was one of those people who have a really long pinky. That's not the case. So I need to I have to have a correct angle. So the angle here has to be high enough. So I'm not keeping my elbow down, but basically in the correct angle. So that helps. But then in some cases, when I'm playing chords, I also have to sometimes bring the hand a little bit closer to the fingerboard, so I can reach with my fourth finger on. The other thing to keep an eye on, the thumb should always follow the second finger. So wherever the number 2 finger is, then on the stretch, then the thumb follows it. And the other very important things to look for when you're practicing is to avoid what you would call a death grip, because it's a human nature. We're built to grab things, but this time we don't want to grab. We want to just use the weight of the arm naturally to basically to get the string down, and the thumb is there just as a holding place, as a measuring tool. If we grab it, then our hand gets immediately stiff, and it gets harder to play a vibrato or harder to do the scratch, because you kind of in a cramp, and you get really easily injured. Also, it wears you out. This is a marathon. This is not 100 meters. You have to do anything that to do to basically keeps the hand relaxed, and that's one way of doing that. Something else I wanted to say relating to that. Because this is strenuous exercise, especially in the beginning. Just do a little while, do the chord, work on it, but then maybe do just 5 minutes, and then just kind of stretch the hand and give it a little bit of rest, and maybe even do something else. So that way, kind of, it builds the endurance, and then the muscle memory is starting to remember that shape. We're all dealing with different kind of shapes. I'm gonna come to that later on a little bit as well. So now this one kind of also reaps benefits, because just on the slow movement, on the same concerto, we're dealing with, just in a different key, but we're dealing with the similar situation. We have now we can clean it up. Perfect fourth is very difficult to get it into. Keep the second finger in there, and then there's another. Same thing. Practicing chords so we can clean it out. And so forth. So the same shapes and will help us on later on. Anyway, I'll thank you. More later.